All right, awesome. So thank you everyone for tuning in, either dropping by on this special wellness live that we have for self-care. If not, if you're listening to this at a later date, we're glad that you're taking the time out of your busy schedule to do so. And so I want to go ahead and get started. My name is Angie Clay. I am the brains behind Liberate and Lather. And one of the things that we do here is we make soap and all these wonderful things, but sometimes we forget to take care of the inside and we focus on the outside. And what I wanted to do now that we're in some very crazy, eerie, weird times that no one's ever really faced before, a lot of times we just need a way to just relieve what we're feeling and have a safe place to do that. So what I wanted to do with these self-care pop-ups is just have a place where people can come and just relax, learn, and find techniques and tips that you can apply in your own life. Today we have Christie Love. She is going to be our presenter today. She is a mental health and wellness advocate with a history as a seasoned entrepreneur. She is helping her husband start and build and manage a successful contracting business. Also, while she's doing that, in addition to that, she is also balancing her own mental health struggles with bipolar disorder and anxiety. She now educates and supports other women about mental illnesses, educate women about mental wellness, and natural solutions, and ultimately to help other women realize you're never alone. So we really appreciate her being very transparent with things in her life that most people would not be so open to discuss. And so by her doing that, it's going to help so many other people. So I'll let introduce you to Christie. Hello.
Hello, hello. Oh gosh, thank you so much for that beautiful introduction, Angela, and thank you for having me here, especially in light of the times we're living in right now. So yeah, we're going to be talking about a really important topic today, which is the effect that our mind and our thinking can have on our mental health, and then in turn our physical health. And we'll talk about some practical ways that we can deal with the negative self-talk, and then try to turn that around in a more positive way. So for those of you who are watching, you can grab a pen and a pencil, coffee or tea, just get comfy, and I think this is going to be a really good discussion, and hopefully you'll come away with some helpful ways to to deal with these things. Just a disclaimer right off the bat. So any content or information that I share with you today is purely for educational purposes, and it's not a substitute for professional or medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. All right, so you always want to seek the advice of your physician, psychiatrist, or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition that you may have. And I like to always say that right off the bat, because as Angela mentioned, I myself have mental health issues that I deal with myself, and I see a professional for. So it's very important that you always remember that. So we are living in some interesting times, as we mentioned, right? Again, my name is Christie Love, and I am a mental wellness and health advocate. And today is March 24th, 2020. And we're living in a very different world than we were just like 3 weeks ago, right? Just a few weeks ago, it was like, just going about our life, living life normal. But now we have some very different words we're living with, words like coronavirus, social distancing, quarantine, isolation, words we're now very familiar with. And just hearing those words can make you feel a little stressed out because they've turned our lives upside down for the time being. So now what do? Do we just sit around? Do we watch the news all day and start panicking? Do we give up on life? Well, that's what we're going to talk about next. And what we're going to start with is positive thinking, okay? And what is that? All right, now if I gave you a glass or bottle half full of water, would you say that it's half empty or that it's half full? Well, this is what we're talking about, right? And that reflects whether you're more of an optimist or a pessimist, okay? But here's the thing, just because you're a positive thinking or a glass or bottle half full kind of a person doesn't mean that you're ignorant to life's unpleasantries or unpleasant situations that we're seeing right now. In fact, I consider myself to be a positive person, but I'm also a realist, okay? When things started happening these last few weeks, I started doing the things. I started getting prepared because I have asthma and I have a 74-year-old mother-in-law that lives with me who has diabetes. She has a lot of serious health issues. So I had to make sure that we made all the preparations to make sure that she is going to be safe and I'm going to be healthy. I know what's up, right? But I'm also a positive person in that I'm home, I'm safe with my family. I know that we have what we need right now, right? I'm taking advantage of the time I have home right now with my family. I'm catching up on work that's I know has been needing done for a while. I have 3 months extra now to get my taxes done. So that's a good thing.
That's a plus, yes.
Right? That's a plus.
Yes.
That's a positive.
Yes.
There's some good things that are happening. I have courses that have been kind of collecting dust that I can work on now. So, you know, you can look at the upside of things. So positive thinking is looking, you know, thinking of the best and, you know, of the outcome of things versus the doom and gloom, right? But it all starts with self-talk. So let's talk a bit about that next. What is self-talk? All right. So we all talk to ourselves, whether we like to admit it or not, right? And what, in all seriousness, self-talk is like this endless loop of unspoken thoughts that just run through your head throughout the day. We all do it. It's just thoughts that could be positive or negative thoughts. They're just running through your head throughout the day. And if you're a pessimist, if you're that glass half empty type of person, then guess what? Those thoughts are going to be mostly negative, right? And if you're a positive person, glass half full, then those thoughts are probably going to be more positive throughout the day. So what we need to do then is to start killing the ants or the automatic negative thoughts. So you can write that down, ANTS, that stands for automatic negative thoughts. So here are some examples of some negative thoughts that you can easily spot. One is called filtering, all right? And maybe you can spot when you may have done this yourself. Filtering is when you magnify a negative aspect of a situation and you filter all the positive ones. An example of this is you had a great day at work. You did so many awesome things. You got all your tasks done. You even got all kinds of compliments through the day. But then in the evening, you focus on that one thing that you forgot to do, right? Or, and then you just forget about all the compliments that you got. So maybe you can even remember a time that you did that. All right, another negative thought is when you personalize things. It's called personalizing. And that's when something bad happens and you automatically blame yourself for it. Yeah. So maybe a friend cancels an evening out with you, and you automatically blame yourself for it. You think, oh, nobody wants to be around me. You're right. but that may have nothing to do with it. Maybe something happened. Someone got sick in their family, so, you know, but you just personalize it. You just automatically think it has to do with you, right? Something like that. A third one is called catastrophizing. What's a catastrophe, right? So that is when you just automatically think the worst, right? So the drive-through coffee shop gets your order wrong. Oh gosh, not Starbucks. They get my order wrong. No. But you automatically think because of that, the rest of the day is going to be a disaster, right? It's going to start this domino effect that they got my coffee wrong. Oh, that's it. The rest of the day is gone. The rest of the day, why bother? Because it's a catastrophe, right?
I have a question for you, Christy.
Yeah.
So where do you think that, like, the catastrophe thinking, the personalizing, like, when do we start doing that? Is that something that we may start picking up when we're younger, or is there like a trigger to these things? Like, is it something that's
A lot of times it is. Yeah, a lot of times it is a learned behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially in family circles, because
Mm-hmm.
I know that was the case for me,
Mm-hmm.
that I had to unlearn from my family, because I can still see it from them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I have to, you know, when and it's tough, you know, because when I go back, you know, talk to them, I can still hear and see those behaviors,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to really, you know, fight that when I go back and talk to them, because I unlearned those behaviors.
Yeah. So there's hope. Like, if you are doing some of these things that you're mentioning, then this is great. It's not the end of the world.
No, it's not the end of the world, and that's what we're going to go into next.
Mm-hmm.
After this, one last one that we'll mention here, which is polarizing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you see things as either good or bad, like kind of the black or white syndrome, where there's no middle ground. You feel like you're either have to be perfect or you're just total failure. So that's another way to see things as a negative. So going into what you're just mentioning, so it's like, okay, is there any hope, you know, for people like that? You know, because I was that way too, especially for people, you know, like myself, who have mental illness and deal with like bipolar disorder and depression. And if you're already have these learned behaviors of being that glass half empty type of person, being like a pessimist type of personality, it can be difficult to, you know, unlearn these behaviors and become more positive. So how do you turn a negative into a positive? So that's what we'll talk about next. So you can do this and learn to turn a negative into a positive. It's just going to take time and practice, because it is like any other habit. It's just going to take time and practice. But here are some ways that you can do it. One is you have to identify some of the areas where you need to change that. You have to first just learn to become, or if you want to become more optimistic, you have to start small, you know, focus on one area to approach in a more positive way. And, you know, this could be, you know, in certain areas, certain relationships that maybe you have. It could be, you know, just in, you know, yourself, and you know your life in general. It might be related to work. It could be related to your spouse. It could be related to someone in your family. You know, we tend to have certain things in life we are more negative about. So start there.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I'm saying. You want to start small, right? And then go from there. The next thing you want to do is check yourself. So it's periodically through the day, you want to just stop and evaluate your thinking. You know, before we talked about how, you know, self-talk is just this constant loop of these thoughts that are going through your head through the day. So periodically you want to check those thoughts and see how you're thinking. What are my thoughts today? Am I thinking negative? Am I thinking mainly negative? Am I trying to put a positive spin on things? And then if I'm thinking more negative, then maybe try put a more positive spin. And a little later, I'll show you, and you know, I'll show you in a worksheet how, and we'll give you the link to a worksheet where I'll show you some examples, and then you can use as an exercise to give you a way to, you know, change your thinking a little bit. Another is just be open to humor. Sometimes people who are pessimists maybe don't have enough of a sense of humor, you know. You need to give yourself permission to just laugh. Maybe you need to watch a little more comedy, you know, especially right now during the times we're stuck with all this bad news with the coronavirus, and all the kind of news that we're seeing and hearing right now. We could use a little laugh. We could use a little de-stress. So find things in your life that can make you smile. You know, watch those YouTube videos of the puppies that are doing those funny things. You know, in those videos it's just like this video of all different dogs and cats that are dancing and doing funny little things. Those are so funny, and they've been proven to just give you these like feel good hormones. So just take a couple minutes to just watch them and just binge watch things like that, because they do make you feel good. Just give yourself permission to do that, you know.
You know, we have TikTok.
Yeah.
Yesterday I went through there a little bit, and some of them, okay, you're like, all right, clearly. But
right.
A lot of them are funny. And then
Yeah.
especially when you see the parents trying to, like, you know, do like the new, so it's like a dance now that's out, since we can't like hug, and it's like you move your feet real fast, and it's funny. I'm like, there's little ones. I found myself last night going through there and giggling.
I know. I get the TikTok app. I've seen, you know, people post them on Instagram and stuff, but I need to actually get the TikTok app and watch some stuff.
Yeah. The younger ones, I mean, it's their jam, clearly.
I know it's their jam.
You know, it takes us a while to like work up, because you got to get your lipstick on, and you know, like those guys are like, hey, I don't care. You know, they just get on the camera and do the thing. But there are some really funny ones that, so I've enjoyed it for that. So that's good. You mentioned humor. So
yes, yes.
To make us laugh.
Exactly. And sometimes we just forget that I just love, you know, because right now we can't, you know, go to the movies. I love to go to the movies and just kind of get lost in a good movie and just forget about the world for a while. And right now we kind of need that too, to just get lost in something for a little bit. So find, you know, search for a good movie or a good book or whatever, and just let yourself get lost for a little while and just enjoy it. Another one, which goes without saying, is just to follow a healthy lifestyle, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's you know, it's a little bit different right now, because you know, you have to have the social distancing, and we can't go to a gym and get out in the same kind of way that we normally would, but you can still do it, right? You can still have chunks of time during the day where you can get exercise. You can find space in your house where you can get your sit-ups, just have a mat, have your, you know, have your sit-ups and have a little workout routine that you can get in. You can do it. Okay, I don't want any excuses here. And you can get the basics that you need. You can still eat a decent meal, okay? And you can do breathing techniques. You can breathe, have some nice breathe in. What I like to do, sometimes you just need to slow down for a few minutes. Just breathe in for like 6 seconds, hold it for 3, and then breathe out. That's so good. even just for me, like I have anxiety. Like last night, I felt my anxiety going up a little bit, and I did that for a few minutes, just a few deep breaths, you know, breathing in, hold for a few seconds, and then breathing out. Did that a few times while I was laying flat in my bed, and it felt so good. So doing things like that just for good self-care, eating right, having a good routine like you normally would. Keep doing that, you know, and you'll get through this, all right? And you can always step outside and get fresh air. You can still do that. Even if you're stuck at home, you have a yard, okay? Or you have a balcony, something, a way to get some air, or you can open your window, all right? So please keep doing that. All right, surround yourself with positive people, okay? Do that. Don't be around negative people. So make sure you have positive people in your life, because guess what? Negative people are going to increase your stress level, and that is not good for you. All right, another one, practice positive self-talk. So that is just going to be good for you, your health, your mental health. Just remember that, think about things you're thankful for in life, that you're grateful for. Some people like to have like a gratitude journal, you know, or something like that, just as a reminder, especially right now, right? We can get stuck in the, you know, in the isolation and start thinking about the negative things. Maybe this is a good time, if you haven't already, to start that gratitude journal, right? To start thinking about the things that you are grateful for, maybe three things each day, and start thinking about that. All right, so now, what is all this good for? So those are all the things, some of the things that we went over there, that how you can turn a negative into a positive. Now, that's all great, and that's awesome. And then on top of that, there's health benefits to being positive. So some of these, just to mention a few, are increased lifespan. Who doesn't want to live a little longer, right? Another one is lower rates of depression. So positive, and it's not to say that you're never going to get depressed, especially, you know, in situations like we are in right now. Obviously, that, you know, it's going to cause us to be down. It's going to cause anxiety, things of that nature. But if we can be a little more positive in the situation, then it can help us to deal with the situation better than we would if we were not positive. So I would say that's the case. All right, so lower levels of distress, that positive thinking will help us with that. Also, greater resistance to the common cold. So if you have a cold, that is going to make things worse for you. If you did get the virus, it would lower your resistance even more. So make sure that you try not to get the common cold. The positive thinking is going to help with that. All right, so better psychological and physical well-being. That is all good things. Another thing it's going to help with is better cardiovascular health and reduced risk of death from cardiovascular disease. And another one, which is perfect for right now, better coping skills during hardship and times of stress. Who doesn't need that right now, right? Okay. So, and the theory behind all of this, behind the health benefits of positive thinking, is that it enables you to cope better with the stressful situations, which, like, obviously we're all dealing with right now, right? And it reduces the harmful effects that stress has on your body, because we obviously, if you've ever been under stress, which, hello, I think we all have, you feel that, right? You feel when you're under stress, it's not good for your body. I feel tense when I'm under stress. I feel like my heart just doesn't, it's like my heart is pounding harder. I feel heavy, my body, it's definitely, I don't know about how about you, Angela, when you're under stress.
Yeah, I feel like I can't breathe, or like I start munching more, and
Yes, right?
I start like,
Yeah.
and I eat a little bit more, yeah, and then I just yeah, I become kind of erratic, just like some of the things that we talked about a little bit earlier, going into personalizing, or my thought pattern just starts to get kind of wonky.
Yeah. So it has a physical effect
Mm-hmm.
on our systems when we're under stress. So any kind of positive thinking that we can add to try to counter that is only going to help us physically, right? Um, and it doesn't mean it's going to fix things, or and like I had mentioned before, it doesn't mean that positive thinking means that we're just, you don't know, we our head in the sand, or we just think everything's great. it we understand, and I totally understand. I'm a realist. I know what's up. I know what the situation is, but it helps me to deal with the situation in a more constructive way,
Right.
right?
Because it
Right.
seems like worry, it doesn't add any qubits to your life. It
That's
really
right.
it takes away, based on wisdom, and also like just the health benefits that we talked about. Like the worry will decrease the lifespan, decrease, you increase depression, like all the things that are not good for the body. You don't
Yeah,
add life, you're really taking it away when you stay in that state.
exactly.
These are some good tips there here, Christy, giving out. And these are things that people probably already know, right? But
Mm-hmm.
comes, you forget it. Like you totally forget. And so these are really good reminders that you're putting down and reminding us that we really need to implement.
Good. I'm so glad. It's good reminders, because right now it's, especially that first week or so,
Mm.
we were all just kind of hit with something we've never experienced,
Right.
in our lifetime.
Yeah.
And so it's natural for all the anxiety hormones and everything to just wham us with like, what, I don't know what to do. This is not function, does not compute,
Yeah.
like a robot, like what happening? So that we just, then after all that just kind of goes by, then we have to start like, okay, now I need to push that out and start really
Mhm.
figuring things out, breathe, you know.
Yeah. I'm so glad
And
you brought up the breathing, because I was doing some research, and the research shows that we do not breathe deeply enough. Like we
yeah,
should be taking in like deep breaths. Like
yeah,
it really helps our bodies. And I've been doing that, and I could hear like some of my like bones, I don't know what it is. I feel them like kind of like, I hear them kind of crack a little bit when I really
yeah,
do that, the deep, because I never
yeah,
really do it. I
that's
just feel
true.
like my body kind of adjusting like different places, and I almost feel like, ooh, once that adjusts, like I feel like, ooh, I feel like I almost been to the chiropractor.
Yeah, and it's true though. We don't breathe most of the time. We're just kind of sitting, working, whatnot, and we're just taking kind of shallow breaths. We're
Mhm.
not really breathing in the way we're supposed to, and then breathing out.
Yeah.
And I do this myself, and you can do this as well, and those who are watching, while you're, maybe you're laying down, what you could do, take your right hand, put it over your heart, and take your other hand, put it over your belly. Because we tend to breathe in our chest too much
Mm.
instead of in our belly, which is how we should be breathing. When you breathe, your chest shouldn't be rising. It should be through your belly.
Mm.
Yeah. So try not to let your chest rise. Try to breathe through your belly. Belly breathing instead. Yeah, it's a good exercise.
Yeah.
It feels so much better. I do that when I'm feeling really anxious because that's how I know I'm breathing too much through my chest.
Okay.
Yeah, and then that helps to calm my my anxiety down some, and it helps to bring the breathing down here in my diaphragm where it should be versus up here.
So if you feel like you see your chest doing this, then you're probably
Yeah.
doing too much, right? So
Yep.
that, I mean, that also calms you down and make you focus because you're like, okay, am I like really focused?
Yeah, it's good because so it's good to like, because it's a visual, you know, it physically helps you to kind of like push your chest to make sure your chest isn't moving, and you can feel your belly rise as you're breathing. Feel that?
Hey,
Feels
yeah.
good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I was kind of like, you know,
I
moving
know.
out, like doing the jerk. I'm like, this don't feel or look right.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. It feels kind of weird, but it's kind of like, you know, when you're doing the whole thing with your head or whatever. But it feels very relaxing, and I'll
yeah,
do that
this
when I'm
is
laying
that.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for the tip. This is
Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome. I'll do that when I'm laying down in bed. Like if I'm having a really anxious like moment, and I just know that my breathing is too much up here, then I'll do that so that way I can really bring my breathing down here where it should be. So it's just a good way to do that. Just a good good tip, a breathing tip that hopefully will help you and your viewers. Those of
Yeah,
you who are
thank you for
watching.
sharing. Yes, I'm
Yeah,
getting
you're
a lot of
welcome.
value out of this. This is great.
Good.
Yeah.
I hope that helps.
Yes.
So yeah, and as mentioned, and maybe if I could share the screen, I could show you this sheet that I'll share with you guys as well, that you guys can look at later. So this is a worksheet that Angela will give you guys the link to. And this is a sheet that will show you some positive versus negative thinking. These are some examples here that I put down for you, especially right now. These are some things that are going through people's minds. Right now, someone might be thinking, I'm stuck at home, right? But a more positive way to spin that could be, well, I'm safe at home with my family, right? That'd be a better way to think about it. Or
And
someone could
worksheets
be,
did go out in their emails, Christy.
what's
So
that?
the worksheets went out in the emails.
Oh, good, yay. Okay,
People, so they're there. And
awesome.
if not, just shoot me an email and I'll be glad to send the PDF.
All right, good. So then, you know, I'm going to run out of what I need in isolation. Everyone's worried about the toilet paper, right? The toilet paper, I'm not gonna have everything I need, I'm gonna have this. But right now, most people probably have enough, right? I've prepared for this, I have everything I need for now, right? So most people have. So this is just to give you examples, so that when you have those, when you're going through your head through the day and you have these thoughts, you know, you have that self-talk going through the day, you can start thinking in a more positive way. I'm going to get sick, all right? I'll stay home, I'm washing my hands, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and that will decrease my chances of getting sick, okay? But I'm still bored.
Yeah, this is the one that's getting me right now. I'm like,
Yeah.
why? I don't feel bored.
All
I have
right,
so
people,
many
I get
lists.
the cabin fever. I'm so bored. All right, I have so much time to finally finish that course. All right, that's what I'm using my time for. I am so busy, right? I have work to do. I'm working on a website. Working on courses. I'll have my taxes here soon. I got to work on. So I've got plenty of things to work on that I never have time. Who of us says I never have enough time? Well, guess what? You've got time now.
Yeah.
All right. But everything is shutting down. I can't go anywhere. Okay. Well, the most important places you need to have are open. All right. You need food. The grocery stores are open. Pharmacy. You need medicine. Pharmacies. Medical centers. If you really are critically in need of help, then the medical places will be open, okay? So that's how you put a positive spin on things. So the next sheet is for you as an exercise, just to, you can use that to put the negative thought and turn it into a positive. So this will be an exercise for you. If you ever find yourself saying, I'm not good at this, I'm never gonna figure this out, how can you put that into a positive? If you say, there's no way this is ever gonna work, how can you put that into a positive? And then if you have a negative thought in the day, write it down here and then turn that into a positive. All right, so that's just to give you an idea of what you can do. All right, so like I said, you're not gonna, if you tend to be more of an optimist and you think in a negative way, it's not gonna change overnight, like and it didn't for me. I had to unlearn those habits, but with practice, you can do that and you can eventually lessen that, and to the point where your state of mind can be more positive and optimistic, and you'll be better able to handle the stresses of life in a more constructive way. So that's that. I hope you enjoyed that today. I hope you gave you guys some helpful ideas and tips that you can take away from today.
Yes, that is very informative, and it's great. This is great. And especially if you go through the worksheet and you have any questions on the worksheet, there's Christie's website, and there'll be her contact information if you want to get in touch with her. We wanted to do this now the things that we're going through, that's really crazy and heavy, things that we read in the history books, and it's like, I'm glad I wasn't there. Now, here we are. So now we have coping mechanisms. Taking a positive spin on that. They didn't have internet back during influenza, Black Plague time. They didn't have that. They didn't have things that we do have, hospitals to run to if they really are in critical need of medical care. So these are positive things that we can look at. Being able to still make contact with other people, even though we have to social, distance ourselves from each other. So this is really good, and we can also use this when the smoke clears, to be able to go through life, because life is going to be drastically different now when we even can come out. So we definitely can use these things to add a positive spin. So I'm really appreciative that you took the time out to prepare this for us.
Yeah.
And things that we can use now and in the future.
Thank you so much, Angela, for having me.
Yeah, thank you everyone for coming and taking the time to listen to the audio, look at the video, and taking the time to work on the worksheets. If you have any questions, Christie and I are here. I'm at liberateandlouder.com. Christie is at ChristieLoveWellness.com. Please reach out to us, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.